All right, ready to dive in. We're taking a close look at Elon Musk and his appearance on Real Time with Bill Maher. We've got some really interesting parts of their HBO interview. They talk about all sorts of things like Twitter, AI, even the woke mind virus.
Yeah, Mark kicks things off with a pretty bold statement, huh?
Mhm.
He basically says that people like Musk, those tech innovators, they're the ones really shaping civilization.
It's a big claim,
Mm-hmm.
but I kind of get where he's coming from. And Musk, well, he doesn't exactly disagree, does he? He compares the internet to like humanity gaining a nervous system.
Yeah.
And get this, he gives this example of someone in the Amazon using Starlink. They actually have more access to information than the president did back in the 80s.
It's crazy, right? How technology has changed everything about how we get information. Makes you wonder about, like, the downsides, though, too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about misinformation, manipulation. It's all part of it. Which brings us to, well, why did Musk buy Twitter anyway? He was so vocal about his worries, the platform. He called it a digital town square. He felt like trust was just gone and people weren't hearing different viewpoints.
And this is where those Twitter files come into play. For anyone who doesn't know, those were internal documents Musk released, basically claiming the government was putting pressure on Twitter to control what people saw. And it all ties into this idea of the woke mind virus, something Musk talks about a lot.
Yeah, he keeps coming back to that. Can you break that down a bit? It's one of those phrases people throw around, but what's it actually mean here?
Well, for Musk, the woke mind virus it's like the opposite of valuing merit. It's against free speech because it shuts down debate, questioning, anything like that. He makes it sound pretty serious, like it could even destroy civilization.
Wow, strong words. I'm hearing a connection here, this woke mind virus and all the worries about censorship. It seems like Mark feels it too. They both think there's more and more censorship happening, even from those who are supposed to be, all about liberal values.
Totally. Maher brings up examples like England's libel laws, much stricter, and how some European countries make it a crime to deny the Holocaust. It's about highlighting how complicated this all is, free speech and its limits. Makes you think, right? These rules, they might have good intentions, but could they lead to something worse?
Definitely makes you think about where the line is. But let's switch gears for a sec. Musk's thoughts on education were really striking to me. He didn't hold back at all when he talked about what he called indoctrination, happening in schools, universities, all of it.
Yeah, he told that story about Grimes, his ex-partner, asking her daughters about George Washington. They only knew he was a slave owner, and Musk saw that as a sign of how biased history is being taught.
Makes you wonder, right? If we focus on the negative too much without showing the whole picture.
And it ties back to that woke mind virus, doesn't it? Musk's concern about it affecting education, maybe stopping people from thinking critically. Like it creates a culture where some views are right and others are wrong, so there's no real discussion.
Definitely thought-provoking. But let's move on to something else Musk has been in the news for. AI. He's been sounding the alarm about the dangers for years, even met with Chuck Schumer to talk about regulations.
It's interesting because he compares himself to people like Ray Kurzweil. Kurzweil is super optimistic about AI, sees it as this path to living longer, all sorts of advancements. But Musk, along with guys like Bill Gates, Stephen Hawking, they've all said they're worried about AI, like it could be a threat to humanity itself. Makes you think, if AI is getting so advanced, like ChatGPT, how do we make sure it helps us and doesn't, backfire? Musk seems to think regulations are the answer.
Interesting point. He compares it to other fields, like aviation or pharmaceuticals, all those rules to keep things safe, ethical. Musk says AI could have such a huge impact, we need that same level of oversight.
Makes sense. He's saying that without some rules, companies might just rush things, prioritize profits over safety, ethics, all of that.
Which brings us back to why he bought Twitter, remember? He said he wanted to fix all the censorship he saw, kept calling it that digital town square.
Yeah.
He really hammers home that point, Twitter being this space for open discussion. It's crucial, he says.
Exactly. He's arguing that shutting down certain views, even if they're controversial, well, that defeats the purpose of a platform built for free speech.
Right.
Musk seems to believe that to have a healthy democracy, you need a healthy online space for debate, and Twitter is key to that.
He even said he could just, sense something was wrong with Twitter before he even bought it.
Yeah.
Almost like he had a sixth sense about the censorship going on. What do you make of that?
It's a bold statement for sure. I guess it shows how strongly he felt that certain voices were being silenced on purpose. And don't forget, he brought up those Twitter files, claimed they proved the government was pushing for content moderation.
Right.
Which, in his mind, backs up his claims.
It's a complicated issue, no easy answers. Musk keeps saying he doesn't care about making money off Twitter. It's about protecting free speech, making sure different perspectives are heard. It's a noble goal, but it comes with a lot of challenges.
Totally. Even Maher jokes that being the mayor of Twitter town isn't easy, all that pressure, scrutiny.
Yeah.
He even mentions how Musk is known for just diving into things head first, often putting his work before his personal life.
That's true. He's all about that intense work ethic. Remember when he lived at the Tesla factory just to get it going? It seems like that dedication is just part of who he is. But let's be real, keeping that digital town square healthy is a tall order. How do you balance free speech with stopping the spread of misinformation, hate speech, all that?
That's the big question, isn't it? How do you build a platform that's open but also safe, where everyone can speak their mind without it becoming chaotic or just plain harmful? It's a question tech companies, governments, everyone's struggling with. There's no easy fix.
A debate that's probably going to go on for years. But going back to Musk's own philosophy for a minute, he had some interesting things to say about happiness. He connected it to love and work that feels fulfilling. Seems like that belief is what drives him to keep chasing those ambitious goals.
Yeah, he definitely wants to leave his mark on the world, even if he does things his own way, sometimes a little out there. But beyond all that personal drive, this conversation with Maher, it really gets at some of the big struggles we're facing as a society, you know?
For sure. On one hand, you've got this push for progress, new tech, people like Musk constantly pushing the limits. But then there's this growing worry about, like, what if it all goes wrong?
Exactly. All that power in the hands of tech companies, misinformation spreading, the whole AI ethics debate, privacy disappearing. We can't just ignore that stuff.
And Maher brings it all up. I think he does a good job challenging Musk, but also admitting, hey, he's achieved a lot. He does seem to want to make the world better. It's not just agreeing with everything Musk says. It's more interesting than that. I agree. It felt like a real exchange of ideas, even when they disagreed. And in the end, it's clear they both care a lot about the future, even if they don't always agree on how to get there.
Yeah, it's good to see that honesty, that willingness to engage, especially with these topics that can be so divisive. You can feel that urgency in their conversation. Like, they know we're at this crucial point with tech and how it's shaping everything.
So after going deep on Elon Musk, what have we learned? What are the big takeaways for us, the listeners?
I think the main thing is we all have a part to play in this future. Whether we're the ones creating the tech, making the rules, or just regular people, we have to be part of this conversation about how tech is changing our lives. We can't just sit back and watch it happen. We got to be informed, involved, and ready to speak up.
Musk's story shows us that one person can make a huge difference, but it also warns us, be careful with that ambition. Think about the consequences, especially with something as powerful as technology.
Well said. The future isn't set in stone. We build it with our choices, our values, by talking about these tough issues.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to hear from you. What stuck with you from this conversation? Did anything Musk said surprise you? He's not afraid to get controversial, that's for sure, but he definitely got us thinking about the future we're creating.
And on that note, here's something to think about. If tech really is the driving force, like both Musk and Maher seem to think, what kind of future do we want? What matters most to us, and what are we willing to DO to make that future happen? Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.